Hey, I'm Colin Parsons and welcome back to my channel from Business with Love. So if you've not been here before, this is a channel where I am basically giving myself weekly therapy where I get to speak to the camera and kind of document my journey of not what I'm just doing in terms of the business, but obviously some of the thoughts, feelings that I'm going through, because I've always kind of been interested in what goes on, and you see a lot of success stories of how people set up their business and they've smashed it, but very rarely have they documented what's gone on. And I'd like to look back at this as almost like a diary entry to myself. And when I'm feeling unconfident and think, oh, geez, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, have a look back and see the things that I've overcome, and maybe remember some of those things and tricks and tips of how I actually overcame them. So before I forget, happy 2025 to you guys. What have I been up to? So I had a 2-week break from posting on YouTube. And the reason being is that I went back to the UK. I took my kids to see their grandparents and my brother and their family. We had a great time. So if you guys are watching, thank you so much for entertaining us. Yeah, we love you very much. And it was so enjoyable. Now, I think the only thing that sort of marred my visit was that I was still thinking about the business. Now, if you've been on this channel before, you'll know that I've been unemployed for coming up to 6 months now. I'm receiving unemployment benefit, which is very generous from a Luxembourg perspective. Does mean that I'm still required to spend some of my savings in order to prop up day-to-day living, but in all intents and purposes, this is very generous of the Luxembourg government. On the side of that, they also run a program to help us set up your own business if you are in the market for doing so. Now, it's actually come up to a quite important deadline because the funding for my unemployment will be cut if I'm starting a business, but I need to prove to them that I've set things up. And there's a number of hurdles along the way. And if you've watched this channel or you know anything about me, I am an admin avoider of all costs. I don't really like looking at lots of documents, loads of technical things, especially anything that comes to wording of a lawyer speak. I just don't like it. I think it could be made a lot simpler. And I don't enjoy it, but I'm getting better at it, and I know it's a necessity. So on top of that, in Luxembourg, they are doing a good job of translating everything into English, but they are still a way off. So I have to put the translator on everything that I'm doing just to kind of understand things. And you can sometimes get lost in translation there. So I've had a few people help me along the way, those close to me. I think more importantly, I shared this with someone very close to me, and I said I was actually feeling quite overwhelmed with the need to do this admin stuff, and it kind of sat in the back of my head. And there's a deadline that I need to reach, and I'm not great with deadlines. I've worked in projects for a long time, and I seem to motivate myself a lot more towards the end of the deadline rather than give myself sort of some buffer in between. So I actually started to get worried if I would actually achieve the deadline. But actually we sat down and we talked about it, and we just listed out everything. Now, I'd achieved some of the stuff already before I went to the UK. So that was good. I'd got the wheels in motions on certain things, because you need things like criminal records. You need a declaration of non-bankruptcy to start a company in Luxembourg, but you need that basically signed by a notary. So there's fees. You've got to get in contact with notaries, see if they've got the time to do it. I'm actually getting it signed tomorrow. It doesn't seem like a big formality, but when you've never done it, it's all new stuff. It's just another hurdle you've got to do. And me being an admin avoider, I kind of want to leave these things. But actually, surprising myself, I organized it and I did it. So very proud. It might seem like a simple thing to those of you who like admin, but for me, it was just like, oh, okay, another thing to do. And it wasn't just this one thing. It's a series of things, and they're not always related. On top of that, I think because of the Christmas period, I was sending out emails looking for information and people were away, so they didn't come back to me straight away. So I think the big things that really helped me were writing a list. So, well, actually, first of all, having someone to share my concerns with, because I think a lot of stuff was bubbling up in here and in my stomach. I was feeling not so great about it. And I was wondering if I was self-sabotaging, kind of just thinking, oh, I'll just let the whole business idea go. And yeah, and then just maybe, okay, focus on getting a job. It's just not worth it, etc. But I think that was just me avoiding again. So I actually sat down, wrote a list of tasks out. I actually put it onto Excel or Google Sheets. I actually prefer Google Sheets now. For those of you who haven't used it, give it a try. And I'm a big believer in just having a list, and then I like the color coding. So you just say not started, started, finished, date, etc., and any notes. So you can come back to see where you are in the progress. The only danger for that, for me, is I like to make these tables all nice and color coded, etc. And you can spend a lot of time for not a lot of value. It's kind of seems productive, but it's not. So I just created a simple sheet and I've worked through it. Now, I think pretty much it's all there. You just need to take it step by step. Now, what I found is when I'm actually sitting at my desk and I need to do some of these things, I look at it and I think, oh, it's too big. I get this wave of kind of panic and I don't understand it. And what I've actually done is I've gone back again and again, and I've made myself sit at the desk. And the reality is some of the questions are not applicable to me, and that's absolutely fine. It's not the type of business I'll be setting up. So what's required from me is a lot less. So I think it's strange when I look back over the last couple of weeks, this huge, massive deal was really bothering me. It felt like the biggest mountain to climb. But the reality was, no, it was only a small mountain. I'm not there. I've got to post it this week and hopefully get the approval notice back next week. There's a committee that approves it. But something that can seem massive in our heads, actually, if you break it down, just take it step by step. And if it's too much, just do 5 minutes, come back, do another 5 minutes, and you'll get there. Try not to avoid it like I do, but just keep going. And actually what you find is not as big as you think. And most things, there's guidance. And also don't forget, there are people out there who will help you. I think the internet is a great thing, although it can be one of those places where you go down a lot of rabbit holes. Even the government websites, yeah, they're great, but you find you end up having a lot of information that confuses you rather than actually adds to your knowledge. So you just kind of have to skim through things and see if it applies to you or not. But also, if there's a contact phone number, don't be scared to pick it up and talk to someone. I think I was relying on a lot of emails back and forth, and that can be confusing in itself. Pick up the phone, have a 10-minute conversation, get all your questions out, because sometimes it's the way that you phrase it. You'll get some, strange answers back. But pick up the phone. People are there to help. People want to help. You're not being a nuisance. It's really important. It's something you can overcome, even if you fear speaking on the telephone. I know there's a whole load of us that don't necessarily like speaking on the phone and prefer to be keyboard warriors. But it's important. Get it done. Just focus on it. Remember, people are there to help you. They're not going to get annoyed at you. If they're annoyed at you, it's because they don't like their job. It has nothing to do with you. So, last piece is going in tomorrow. Then I need to submit it. So hopefully then I'll get approval, and then I get the next 3 months of unemployment and focus on doing my business. So I guess that's it from me. Otherwise, I still continue on LinkedIn every day, even while I'm off. I think the Christmas period is actually a great time to connect with people. People are away from their offices and they are doom scrolling, and that's often when they might catch your content. So I kept posting, and I started to get a few more people following me. But then I guess over the last couple of days, I've used LinkedIn a bit more and actually made more connections directly, not just posting content and following other people, but actually asking for that connect button in LinkedIn. And my numbers have jumped up quite a lot. That might not seem like the world, but I think I've jumped up 20, 30 people in the last week, maybe. Now, considering I'm on average adding maybe 7 people to my audience every week, that was quite a big jump. So I think it's just about connecting with people. And what I'm starting to see is more people wanting to have conversations, not in terms of work, but actually just connecting. And I like that because I think I could maybe help people out, even if it's not for a fee, but it's about connecting, having a network, having a bit more of a community. I think that's really important. Again, as I've told you many times, I work here. My desk is right over here. It's great. It's a nice view over the back. But I often miss going and seeing people, interacting physically with people. So having some sort of outlet and community, it's not the same on LinkedIn. Yes, you can do video chats, etc. But I know that I need to push myself out of the comfort zone, go and meet people, go and talk to them. So that's where I'm at. I think I'm in a good place. Definitely looking back over the last 2 weeks, it's felt like a big mountain or a big ball of energy, negative in my stomach, overthinking things. I've scaled it down. I've asked for help. I've listed it all out, and I've got there. And I'm very proud of myself, and I'm proud of the people around me that are supporting me. So thank you very much. You know who you are. So that's very kind. Yeah, that's it from me. If there's anything you want to know, any tips or advice that you want over this process, please let me know. If you're in Luxembourg or you're setting up your own business or you want to in Luxembourg, can be a confusing place. Yeah, I'm happy to help you. So just fire me out a message on the comments. That's it from me, and I'll catch you next week. Cheers.